Hello, dear bereaved parents, grandparents, widowers, grieving siblings, nephews, nieces, aunts, uncles, friends, everybody who are grieving but living. My name is Elena and I am a bereaved parent since 2016. My son left this world unexpectedly by suicide. For the day when it happened, we couldn't even see his body. And the next day as well. Only for the third day they let us go to the funeral home where I was able finally to see my son again. I was so grateful that I was able to hug him again, to grab his hand, to touch him, to talk to him. I didn't even care that he is not talking back, that he is not alive anymore, that he is not in this world with me. I was happy to be there with him. I held his hand and I didn't need anybody or anything at all at that moment. I wanted only to sit with him and talk to him. And I knew that there were many other people around, and they too wanted to say goodbye to my son, and I had to share this place, and I had to let them come to my son and say goodbye. And actually, to be honest, I didn't want to. I felt that I wanted to be alone, I wanted to be with him, and that's it. Finally we had to go home, but the only one thing that I wanted is to come back to the funeral home, because this is the place where my son was. His body was there. So I wanted to come back and to be with him. After the funeral, his body started to live in my mind in the cemetery. So I came to the grave, and as my priest told me, I was reading a special memorial prayer for my son, and I did it every day for 40 days, and then I kept doing the same. And since my son left this world, I go to the cemetery every day. My friends, my relatives, they say, stop it, you can't do it. Some even say that I bother my son, I have to let him go. First of all, I already let him go because he left this world, and therefore, as a mother, I let him do it. So I let him go already. And I do not have to let him go now, because I never asked him to be with me 24/7. I go to the cemetery to sit there, to talk to my son. It's like a ritual for me that helped me to live through my grief. First, during the first year, I was crying over there. Of course I was crying hysterically. I was asking even my son to come back to be with me. Of course I was trying to hold him somehow. I was even crazy enough to believe that one day he could come back. That is all right, like a nightmare, like a horror that happened to me, but very soon I'm supposed to wake up and everything will be gone. It's like a nightmare, that's it. But then I realized, no, this is my new reality. But for me, my son moved to the cemetery, and really I have to sort of accustom myself to this fact that he is now not living in my house with me. His energy somewhere in the different world, in the afterworld, afterlife, but his body is in the cemetery. This is the place, the material place where I could go and could sit with him and touch the picture that we have at his grave and talk to him. And I was crying for the first year, and then I was able to cry and laugh, to remember and talk to my son about beautiful moments that we had together. And I was able to celebrate some special events with my son, and not only be sad, but as much as possible to be happy for him, because I truly believe that in the afterlife he feels much better than here, and he is happy over there. And this is the most important thing for a mother to know, that her son, her daughter, her kids are happy. So as long as I try to remember that my son is happy over there, and as long as I could feel it in my heart, sitting at the grave of my son and talking to him, I became happy as well. Drop by drop, this emotion came into me through the years of sitting at my son's grave every day. Doesn't matter that my friends and my relatives say that it's absurd, it's craziness that I go there every day. I don't care what they think, because I'm happy for them. They are not in my shoes. They don't know how is it when you wake up and you know that your son, your kid, is not here in this world, is not living in your house. His new place is in the cemetery. So what do? You wake up, you go to work, you just do your duty, and then you go to the cemetery and you sit there and you feel good. You feel more safe in this place and closer to your kid who lives in heaven now. That's how I could be living but grieving, or actually grieving but living. And I will keep posting my stories and share my experience with you, in hope that somehow I could help you to go through the day, and with my stories you could feel maybe a bit safer, or you could understand that you are not alone, that we all go through the many challenges, because we are bereaved parents, grandparents, widows, siblings, friends, and we are grieving but living. Thank you. I'll see you next week.